everyone, and welcome back. I'm your host, Jenny Woon, and I'm here with my co-host,
Toni Singh.
We're very excited to be here for episode 2. We really appreciate those who have listened and commented on our first episode. We only want to deliver content that resonates with you and ultimately what you enjoy listening to the most, of course. So it's your comments and feedback that will keep us going. So for those who are new here, thank you for joining us, and we can't wait to share our insights. We're here today to bust your limiting beliefs, because we all have them, right? Throughout this whole career, I've had a lot of life lessons. At one point, I felt really defeated. Actually, many
I was going to say just one.
But you know what? Quitting is not in our DNA. We're both born directors. Would you agree?
Yeah.
It's not an option for us quitting. No. So, Toni, what would you say is like the biggest challenge you've ever faced in your career to the point where you wanted to quit?
So I'll be honest. There's actually been multiple times that I have thought about quitting. And the first one that stands out to me, it was the very first time that I felt like quitting real estate as a career, was when I first started. And when I first started real estate, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the process that you have to go to become licensed. But I went through the process, and really when you come out of that, you're allowed to technically sell homes. But I had no idea on how to list and sell homes. I mean, the course doesn't really prepare you for that. So I said to myself, okay, how do I get business and actually sell properties? Because that's what real estate agents do. So I started door knocking on a whole bunch of houses. Some days I would do 100 a day. It was also a lot of exercise. Wow, that's incredible. So my legs were so tired, and there was a lot of rejection there, because the funny thing was that you knock on doors, most people don't want to sell their home. They don't even know you. And it's like, you're a stranger, I'm opening my door, the answer is no. So when I first got started, I felt really defeated, and I was kind of thinking, why did I get into real estate? I can't even get a client to list their house. I don't know how to do it. And so that was the first time that I felt defeated. I ended up the following day making a commitment to myself, though, and it was that if I was truly going to be successful at selling real estate, I would have to go back to every single house that I had gone to the day before, where I was actually too afraid to get out of my car, because I had gone to a whole bunch of expired homes. There was so many of them, and I just sat in my car. It's embarrassing to say it. I couldn't open the door.
Wow.
So the next day I went back to every single one, and I made myself get out of the car to go knock on these people's doors and then have conversations with them about real estate. Now the funny thing is that someone actually said yes to me, and then I was like, what? I don't know what to say next. But that was the first time that I felt like quitting. There's been a few others definitely throughout my career. That was the first one where it was just really, really defeating.
Who gave you that idea to do the open house, the door knocking?
So I come from a family of realtors. I'm actually a 4th generation real estate agent.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yes. And it was just the old school way of doing things. Mm-hmm. It's not the only way to meet new people and experience things, for sure, in real estate, but that was one of the ways to meet new people and going outside of your sphere to get business. So that's just what I did.
Did any of them actually accompany you to those door knocking?
It was like, go on your own, Toni, good luck. No, they're actually really supportive. But the funny thing is that I also door knocked the areas that they were really, they had high market share in at the time. So that's probably why I would go on my own. So it was a good experience, though, because what it taught me, if I can go into this for a second, it actually taught me that perseverance is really important. I could have the next day gone to all of those homes again, not gotten out of my car, and then I wouldn't be where I am today. Mm-hmm. And I've actually noticed that over time, with the other times I've been discouraged in real estate and or business, mm-hmm. they've been so valuable. If you can push through the resistance, there's something else waiting for you on the other side. So I just look forward to it now. When I'm having a harder time or things are not necessarily going the way that I thought that they would, it's actually a blessing, and it's exciting.
Right.
How about you, Jenny? Was there a time in your career that you either wanted to quit or felt so defeated, you're just thinking, I don't want to do this anymore, what should I do next?
Well, to be honest, it wasn't actually too long ago for me. I'd probably say maybe about 5 years ago, which is about 12 years into my business. It was a time when, I don't know if you remember, but it was a time when realtors were getting a really bad rap. And rumored for chasing commission checks, profiting from flipping and assigning contracts under their clients' nose, even with potential clients threatening to go to another agent if we weren't going to give a cut of our commission. So I actually really felt defeated and questioned myself, my worth in this business. Was it worth it to stay? I mean, I've always believed I earned every penny of that paycheck, and in fact, should have charged for every email I sent, every consultation conversation I had, even down to the home evaluations. But I know that our real estate business model is not built on that type of system. I know that there's a lot of freebies and a lot of meetings face to face and over the phone that we don't charge for. So, but it's really rewarding at the end. Our business model is quite different from other professions like an accountant or a lawyer. But I felt just that we weren't really well respected. Our image was duly tarnished, and we just kind of made the news on a consistent basis, almost monthly. So the public's perception of a real estate agent made me feel inferior to where our service didn't really matter to them. And with technology being introduced, and where do we place ourselves, and where do we come in to add value to their sales and purchase process?
Absolutely. So you said that was around 5 years ago when the media was having a heyday, and they've had many heydays since then. And I didn't want to give up that easily. What inspired me the most is understanding that there's not one size that fits all for every agent. You attract who you are, not what you are. And I truly believe in laws of attraction and manifestation. And so instead of allowing my business to run me, I stood by my principles. My principles were non-negotiable, and I clearly defined who I wanted to serve and how I want to serve them. So I also surrounded myself with a really good support system that carried the same values of my business. So at that time, I was actually with a boutique brokerage, and I really needed some form of culture to highlight and reevaluate where my business is going. And that's when I joined Oakland Realty, actually. So our brokerage, I feel like, needs to be held way more accountable to bring the community together, to set a certain standard that is higher than previous. And since then, I've never really questioned my worth since then. It's crystal clear who I want to serve and how I want to serve and when I want to work. So that's when I really felt that I probably should have looked at a different career. That's so interesting that you've touched on that, though, too, because I, in my experience, can also echo similar, I guess, realizations surrounding that. So I suppose it was when I first started till around the time that you're talking about, and then there's been a few times after that as well within the last few years where real estate agents have been under really big scrutiny from the media. And at the end of the day, you have to bring it back to what values do you want to portray? What values do you want in your business? Who do you want to work with? And you will attract those clients.
You want to be able to enjoy
I
your
believe
job,
in that too. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I think the real estate industry is actually quite interesting because the standards, I feel bad kind of saying this, I guess. I'll put it a different way. When I first...
we said nothing is censored, right?
Okay, I'm going to say it.
Honest.
Is it against the realtor code? There's a real estate ethics code. I'm going to go there. So, actually, for those of you that don't know me, I'm very outspoken and very honest, and sometimes I will say things that people don't like, but that's who I am. And so you always know what you're getting. Anyhow, so
Thank God for editing.
I know. The real estate industry, I remember when I first got into the real estate industry, I thought it was so interesting. It's actually a very low, originally when I started, it was a very low level of standard for client and customer care. For even the council in terms of protecting the public, because we've had a lot of rule changes too. Dual agency used to be allowed. I remember when I first got into real estate, I said to my managing broker, Vince Tang at Rennie and Associates Realty, I said, Vince, I don't understand. How are we allowed to do this? Like the dual agency thing. He said, what do you mean? It's how we've always done things. I said, yeah, but there's a conflict of interest. Hasn't any lawyer ever brought it up? Mm-hmm. And now we're no longer allowed to do that. But it was interesting because for somebody coming into the industry to look at the standards, I actually think they have improved since then for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the last 24 months it's significantly changed.
Yeah, and so I think that that's actually a good thing for the industry, but I do echo what you're saying about standing by your value, and it's difficult when you're trying to work with people that have a painted negativity about the profession. Mm-hmm. It can be really tough, especially when their opinion of you is not consistent with your internal values.
Right. How do we deal with that now? I mean, by surrounding yourself with really good clients and a support system as part of the brokerage.
Yeah, I think so, and I think integrity is the most important. I think as long as you're operating within where you actually, like what your values are and where you're integrous to you, you're never going to lose. And that's true of any business. It can expand outside of real estate. And then the other thing is learning what you can and cannot control. So you can control what's important to you and how you operate with clients, the public, your team, what you want to achieve, but you can't control what other people are thinking anyhow. Mm-hmm. So the sooner that you realize that, it's so freeing. It's so freeing. Like, I have a question actually. It's kind of related to this. It's related to this because it's about struggles. Was there a time in your real estate career where, I forgot, I have pregnancy brain. Let's go somewhere else.
That's allowed.
It was a good one too. Like, it's such a good question.
Well, in your opinion, what's one thing you would change about this industry and why?
I think higher barriers to entry would be something that's a positive thing.
So when they're getting their license.
Correct. Mm-hmm. I like the fact that the board and council have implemented continuing education because the reality is that legally things change, real estate changes as well. There are lots of changes in the industry because it's always evolving. So it's very important for salespeople to stay up to date on those changes. And to be honest, I even think that the 18 credits that we have to do for relicensing is too low. I often go over those credits because it's important for me to provide people with the best service, mm-hmm. the best knowledge, that specialization. So the standard is 18 credits. I think it should be higher.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think I've actually exceeded that. Yeah. In fact, I finished the 18 credits in the last 30 days.
Oh, wonderful.
I did, yeah.
I'm actually completing mine next week because I have to relicense too. But the other thing too is, like, I really want to hit on this point because I'm not sure if any of you out there have struggled with this in the past. I did used to struggle with things that I could control and could not. So I wanted to control everything. I'm a huge control freak. But where you find peace is knowing what you can and cannot control. So focus on yourself, focus on your business. The other things about the industry, yes, in order to evoke change, we must be a part of it. We have to give feedback, but I also would keep it partly separate from yourself because those changes take longer.
It does. It takes a whole board to voice, but without speaking about it, then they'll never know.
That's right. So I'm all for speaking about it, but I just don't think it should be the main focus of individuals if they still want to produce and succeed. Because again, you can only control what you can control. We all have a voice. It's important to use it. And while you're using that voice, control what you can control.
And pick up the phone.
Yeah, pick up the phone. For sure. It sounds like you're really advocating for more stringent professional standards. Yes?
That as well. What kind of pisses me off a little bit is discounting commission. I mean, I know I wasn't
That's
ever.
upheld by the Competition Act, though.
I know, but that kind of irks me whenever someone asks for up to 25% off. Like, where did they get this? They're actually really bold in initiating that conversation.
Yes.
And I'm like, well, they must have heard it from another agent, from another friend.
That's a whole nother topic. We should go there. I have a question, though, before we do. When you hire a professional yourself, Jenny, do you ever ask for a discount?
Well, it depends. Depends.
On what?
I would. It depends on the timing that it requires. It depends on. That's a really good question.
Well, I only ask it because it's like we're saying that too, right? So let's be clear, folks. I do not discount commission, and it's not because I'm greedy. It is because there's a certain level of value that goes along with the service, and 100% I know that I provide that, and therefore if I gave a discount, it would be sacrificing my personal standards for my business, which I'm not prepared to do.
Right.
However,
and expenses have increased over time.
They do. Sorry, the question about when you hire a professional, do you ask them to discount service? For me, I do not. And it's because I also it's kind of like if I'm hiring you as a professional, lawyer, what are some accountant.
Like, I wouldn't ask for discounts from them.
If their value is in line with the services they're providing, no.
Yeah.
And I expect them to do their job. I expect them to be very good at what they do, and therefore there's a level of I know what I get. I get what I'm paying for, basically. I've also seen lawyers and accountants discount things and miss. Oh, I was going to swear,
details.
But I won't because it's supposed to be
no,
censored.
you're allowed.
They miss a shitload of things.
There you go.
And you end up paying $30,000 more when you could have not paid that in the first place. So again, service is very important. This is a good point for you new realtors out there. You shouldn't have to do anything, but if you want to succeed at a high level and you want to build the business of your dreams in real estate, do be investing in yourself.
Absolutely. Continuing education.
Yes.
And I believe this role that we play is we have to be life learners, life students,
Absolutely.
Yeah. I also wanted to add that, I never ask for discounts from my professionals and affiliates like accountants and lawyers. I was just thinking for some odd reason, like on Amazon where I'm shopping for mascara or something like that. That's when I start comparison shopping.
That's different. I said professional. That's totally different. Okay, well, I guess so. And the overall topic, let's bring it back to the overall topic, just in case, because we kind of segued a bit. Sorry, everyone. That might have been my fault.
It happens.
Yeah, it does happen, and we're only human. So we were talking about our signature story, right? And the biggest lesson that we learned in our real estate career, a time we felt defeated.
Right.
And so let's end on the victory, because we kind of touched on it, but what is the victory? So when you were defeated in your real estate career, or you felt that you were, what was the victory, the light at the end of the tunnel that came out of it, where you persevered?
I was able to protect my time. I set boundaries for myself, aligned myself with advocates and those who supported my business and believed in the values that I added to their sales and purchase process. And I built a business around relationships rather than just transactional. So these relationships that I built were really good indicators of people who I wanted to surround myself with. And in turn, they provided me with referrals, and I never had to, again, talk about discounting services.
Because they were happy with your service. And the value provided.
It actually never really comes up. It's obviously we talk about the listing presentation and the fees that are involved and what I get on when they purchase a home. But it's never a question. It's never a question where what did you provide for this what I'm paying for?
It's normally only a question if you're not doing your job. And also there is a handful of people out there that Their personality is that they want a quote unquote deal. And for them, that deal shows up in terms of discounting, but I choose not to work with those people.
Well, they want to have the last say.
That's right.
Right? And if you actually communicated your values properly, provided a comparison of what you have added to the business, they'll certainly appreciate that. And then their goals will align with your goals.
So those are all crucial points, Jenny. Thank you so much for touching on all of them. So everyone that's listening, thank you so much. This is our new obsession. It's this podcast.
Yeah.
And we have a new sense of purpose, sharing our story with our listeners. We are so excited to share something that's valuable and important, and how it can impact your life. So we hope that this has been helpful. We know that this business is not all glitz and glamour, and we want to connect with you and hear about your journey, so definitely reach out to us. Our contact is in the description. It's been such a pleasure to have this conversation with you. Don't forget to hit subscribe, write a review, and share our profile with your friends and peers. We will talk to you next week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.